Welcome back to Sports Rock.
Sport Rock.
All right, this next segment, we call it the Pick'em segment.
Yes, indeed.
And that's where we take 5 NFL teams and 5 college teams.
Games.
That are coming up on the schedule this week, and we have our picks.
We indeed do.
The last round of picks we have Doug setting at 5-5, Chris 2-8, and myself at 4-6. Overall, Doug is at 13-7.
Nice.
And then we got his. Chris is 8-12, and I'm 8-12. We got a lot of ground to be making up here.
Indeedy.
So this week we're going to start off with the pro games. The first one is Dallas at Baltimore. Doug, what's your pick on this one?
Well, Dallas is so sketchy. One week they look like crap. The next week they look like a team that could be a legitimate playoff contender. Baltimore is usually solid week in and week out. Last week was their stinky game, but yet they win. You know, that's the mark of a better football team, is when you play like crap and you still come out with a win. I like the Ravens at home.
Chris?
Well, I think Baltimore is something ridiculous, like 22 or 23-1 of the last 3 years at home. So, and Dallas is not playing great football right now, so I'm going to have to go Baltimore as well.
Well, I'd really like to join the bandwagon here, but I can't make up any ground that way. So I'm just going to have. I'm still going to have to hope and rely that Tony Romo and company can come out on fire, play a game that they are capable of playing at a place that's damn near impossible to win at. But I'm going to go with the Cowboys on this one.
Okay.
Next one up, the Battle of Ohio, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Once again, I believe this was the first. This was the second one that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played in week 2.
This is the second one we did. Okay, they're back at it again. Chris, what's your call on this one?
Well, if you want to go based on statistics and history, you certainly want to choose the Bengals, because I don't think Pat Shurmur has won a game against the Central or the AFC North yet.
No.
That last game, however, was very winnable for the Browns. But I'm going to have to go Cincy and hope I'm wrong. I have to hedge my bet here.
Doug?
Well, I don't think you're hedging any bet. Cleveland hasn't won a football game, and they won't win another one. Not this week. I think Cincinnati.
Okay, well, on the record, I'm going with the guys I'm wearing.
Uh-oh.
We're going to have the upset in Cleveland.
I hope I'm wrong, because I want the Browns to win.
Oh, me too.
The Browns will not only beat the Bengals at home.
Oh,
this could be a bold one.
They will beat them by 10 points.
Wow.
all right.
You want to give me Cleveland in 9, or
I'm not giving nobody shit.
I'll take Cincy in 9.
I'm not giving anyone shit on this game. I'll probably be one taking this shit when it's over. All right, next up we have Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. This is at Philadelphia, which is a tough place to play. Everyone knows that. Doug, you start you off on this one. Detroit, Philadelphia, what do you think?
Detroit has struggled, obviously, by their record of 1-3. Philadelphia has a winning record, but they're pulling it out by the skin of their teeth most of the games. They win by 1 or 2 points. Michael Vick is an absolute turnover machine. However, playing the game in Philadelphia, I look for the Eagles once again to pull it out by the skin of their teeth.
You know,
I'll take the Eagles.
I can see where you're coming from on this one. I really can. Chris, what do you think on this one?
Lions.
You're going Detroit?
I think that this is a perfect opportunity for them to start turning things around.
Yeah, you're
Well, if they think they're a playoff team, they're going to better start turning around pretty quick.
Philadelphia is definitely beatable. Like we've discussed, Michael Vick he's good to give you the ball 2 or 3 times a game at least. So I'm going to go Detroit.
Well, once again, this is against my better judgment, but I'm going to go with the Lions also. I think if they're going to turn around, this is going to have to be a must for them, especially being it's a divisional game. They have to get on track sooner or later. And they have to do it now. Philadelphia, though, is a tough-ass place to play. But Philadelphia, like Doug mentioned, they're winning, but barely. They could quite honestly only have one win there for the whole season.
Yeah, they've been lucky.
So we're going to see how this one rolls for us. All right, next up we've got the football New York Giants at the San Francisco 49ers. This could turn out to be one hell of a ball game right here.
Ooh.
Chris, let's see what yours is on this one.
Boy, as the Cleveland Browns proved this past week, you can run on the Giants. And San Francisco's got a pretty good running game, but that Giants team is they're wily. You just never know what they're going to do. This is a game that the Giants could definitely beat San Francisco. But being that it's at San Francisco, I'm going to give the nod to the Niners.
Get the home field advantage here. Doug, what do you think? Giants or Niners?
Well, I agree that the Giants are the type of team when you think that they're down, they bounce back and they win a big football game. However, saying that, the 49ers, Ahmad Bradshaw will not run for 200 yards against them.
No.
He might run for 50, but he ain't running for 200. Manning will have to throw. And I think that the 49ers defense is susceptible to the pass. But I think the Giants are a little banged up. I like the 49ers at home.
I'm going to dig myself a major asshole this week. I got to feel you. I'm going to come out smelling like a rose, or I'm going to smell like what I'm jumping into. Niners I love, and I think the Niners are one of the very best teams in NFL this year. But it's hard to bet against the Giants. Whenever they need a game, they seem to pull it out of their butts. And I think this might be one of them games where San Francisco's riding high, and they are at home, so they do have the home field advantage on this one. But I'm going to go for the upset with the New York Giants.
All right.
To finish off the pro picks here, we're going, which this could quite possibly be. We've got some pretty good games here that we're picking in the NFL right now, and this one's a big one too. Green Bay Packers at the Houston Texans, and Green Bay is one of the teams all three of us agreed was as far as a surprise, not in a good way, but in a not so good way. The Texans, not really a surprise, they're that good, but this could be a good game right here also, and this is a pick 'em pretty much. This is where home field is definitely going to come into advantage, I feel. Doug, what's your pick on the Packers or Texans?
The Packers can score points. They can't stop people very well. The Texans can score points, and they can stop people. I'll take the Texans.
That's a great way to put that.
You know, whenever I was thinking about these teams that we were picking, I thought this would be the easiest game to pick, and I still do. I'm going to choose Houston, but this is one of those games that can just.
If the game was at Green Bay, I would say maybe Green Bay because Houston's 5-0 and they're probably due to lose at some point, and Green Bay needs the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
I'll
stick with my Houston pick. But
this is one of those games that Green Bay could just pull it out, but I'm definitely going Houston.
Well, this is one of the ones where we're all three, none of us are going to make out on this one because I'm going to have to go with the Texans. I think they're just solid all the way around. And one thing they do have, they've got a killer running game there. And their defense is just phenomenal. And Green Bay is just hurting right now. They're not in sync, and they're on the road. This isn't Lambeau Field. There won't be no Lambeau leaps in this game. I'm not saying they don't have a hope in hell in winning the game. I'm just saying I'm hedging my bets. They're all gonna. It's got to be the Texans. All right, now let's go to the college segment. This is a biggie. Texas at Oklahoma.
Oh.
And I think, in a way, Oklahoma has kind of fell in the stardom of a lot of people's eyes as far as what they were predicted to be at the beginning of the year and what they're actually at now. This could be an interesting game, and it is at Oklahoma. Chris, what's your call on this
Well,
one?
the game's in the Cotton Bowl.
Well, it's in the Cotton Bowl,
In Dallas,
so it's
that's-
actually
that's-
it's in Tech, not
Yeah,
not
it's
in
a
Texas.
neutral field.
Well,
They-
you
they play
consider
the
playing
Cotton
in the state of Texas a neutral field,
Yeah.
then so be it. But
I think the luster of Landry Jones has kind of faded. I think he's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of talk that if he would have declared last year, he could have been, number 3 right after RG3, or even maybe number 2. Oklahoma is definitely, as Doug called earlier in the year, has been susceptible to losing. However, Texas has not set the world on fire either. So I'm going to give the nod to Texas for the simple fact is it is in Texas, although it's billed as an Oklahoma home game. But I'm going to say Longhorns, and I hate Texas too.
Doug,
Well, I think defensively, everybody thought Texas was a little bit more stout defensively until they ran into Geno Smith, and he lit them up for 40-some.
Yeah.
Do I think Landry Jones can light him up for 40-some? Probably not. But I do think Oklahoma's offense is probably a little bit better than Texas. I'll take Oklahoma.
Oklahoma for Doug, and for me, I also am going to have to go with Oklahoma because they need to get back into the picture, and this is a big game for them, and I think it's one that they will pull out, even this home game away from home. Next, Stanford at Notre Dame. Boy, what a doozy this one should be. It's at the Golden Domers. Chris, what do you think about that one?
Well, I keep thinking that Notre Dame's luck's got to run out soon.
The luck of the Irish?
The luck of the Irish has got to end soon, but man, they beat some quality opponents this year.
Yes, they have.
And
Stanford's
I
another
was,
quality opponent.
Not that I expected them to lose to Miami because I didn't. I didn't expect Notre Dame to blow them out. But they continue to honestly impress me, even though, the quarterback play hasn't been phenomenal, but they play solid football. So I'm going to have to go Notre Dame.
Oh.
I would tend to agree that Notre Dame owns the state of Michigan. They beat Michigan State and they beat Michigan. The Michigan game was maybe their toughest game this year. But I'm starting to buy into that Notre Dame defense,
Yeah.
and I'll take the Irish at home.
Well, I won't bet against them at home.
Unanimous.
I can't bet against them at home, even though I do believe Stanford's a great team. I can't bet against Notre Dame at home. And Notre Dame is making a pretty damn solid statement about that program this year because they are playing some top quality opponents and they're playing well. Next up, the Gamecocks against the LSU Tigers. LSU Tigers. Gamecocks had a big game last week, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is where SEC football is at its best. When you've got to play, in South Carolina's case, they just came off a big win over Georgia at home, and now they have to go into Death Valley on a Saturday night against the LSU Tigers, who are coming off a loss. I look for LSU to bounce back and win that football game. I think South Carolina's coming off a huge home win, and you can't take a week off in the SEC, baby. And LSU gets them at home.
Every game counts, and the key thing here is it is at LSU too. That's a key thing in this game. Chris?
Well, I think that it's important for Sprout listeners to know that Mr. Doug Becknell is not entirely unbiased in the opinion of this football game.
No, I like LSU. I'm a fan of LSU. LSU's offense is shaky at best. Their defense is still stout. And it's probably going to take, maybe a turnover here or a turnover there or a big play, punt return or interception return. But I just think LSU. I just think it's so difficult to go through the SEC week after week after week, that gauntlet that you play,
Yes, it is.
and come out undefeated unless you're freaking Alabama. And
Yeah.
you know, there's no guarantees Alabama's going to walk away undefeated. But LSU needs that game. If they have any chance, they have to win that game because they still play Alabama.
And I don't think they get it. I say go Gamecocks. I think South Carolina's going to pull it out.
Boy, you're taking South Carolina in the bayou?
Yeah. Hey, South Carolina wants to be a legitimate contender. They've got to win the tough games like that.
Well, they definitely do, but it's a tough road to hoe. And,
I think they beat a good Georgia team. They blew out a good Georgia team. So.
well, that they did.
But they got them at home.
But they were playing them on their own.
True, but if you're a good team, you're going to play no matter where you go.
True, I agree with that.
Well, you got to be able to travel, especially in the SEC. You got to be able to travel well in the SEC if you want to be anything.
So
good.
what is your pick?
Well, I would love to go with the South Carolina Gamecocks, but no, I'm going to have to go with LSU. They're at home. I'm going to have to go with the Tigers.
Okay, moving on.
USC at Washington. To me, this is an easy pick, but Doug, what's your call on this one?
I'll go Southern Cal by 2 touchdowns.
Southern Cal without question.
Well, that's your pick.
Oh, without question.
Mine also. Like I said, that's a fairly easy.
Not even sure why production chose that game.
Now this last one is could be a iffy here. West Virginia with the mighty Geno Smith, which man that kid's I think he's got it all against Texas Tech. Chris, what do you think?
West Virginia.
Going with the Mountaineers. Good call on that one, I think. Although I do believe Texas Tech plays pretty good defense in that, but I just don't think they're ready for the buzzsaw they're getting ready to come into.
Well, I agree. West Virginia can score points, and I'm not sure. If there's a defense, maybe Alabama's, which may end up being the national championship game. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I can see West Virginia walking into a trap at Texas Tech because that game they will be cranked down there. And West Virginia has come up with big game after big game. I mean, they just beat Texas, and the week before they beat Baylor, so they've indoctrinated themselves in the Big 12 rather well. I can see it being a trap game, but West Virginia's playing good ball, and they can score points, and I think their defense will be good enough. I'll take West Virginia.
I think we're all pretty much unanimous on that pick too. I mean, they're like right now they're like a freaking offensive machine. Interesting, you made a comment which would be very interesting because to see them play in Alabama in the championship game would be, I think that'd be kind of crazy. I think that'd be a crazy ball game. Alabama's defense against this offense, whoo-wee, that could be interesting. All right, that'll do it for this segment of Sports Rock.
Spur Rock.